Hello, voters and supporters. This is Jay. I'm running for Berkeley City Council, District 28, District 8, and this is a slideshow for Berkeley's problems and the solutions. Get us started. Um, the first problem is that Berkeley has a huge population of seniors, age 65 and above. And I just found out in my district, there's more than 25% of the population is age 65 and above. So this is a big problem. We have a huge demand for home cares. But then, if you look at this from another perspective, that Berkeley has the best human resources to cover all seniors with local caregivers. And not just the current caregivers, we could have mental health friends and youth counselors, and of course, including trained and paid UC Berkeley student. You know, I'm willing to say that the best fountain of youth is to live outside your age group towards younger people if you could. So getting people together, the seniors and the UC Berkeley student, getting them together is the best way. People under the youth care, they tend to have a happier life. And let's get into the wildfire problems. This time I found out that part of Berkeley, especially the Berkeley Hills, they are vulnerable to wildfire hazard, and they are in the fire zones 2 or fire zone 3, and which means they are higher risk. So the solution is that we can test the fire safety net that for all the buildings, private and public buildings, against the wildfire. This the so-called fire safety net, it works like a mosquito net. You can drop down from the top, from rooftop, and then if you need when the fire is gone, we can just crank it up. So it works very simple. The other solution I can think of is that cloud seeding to create the rainfalls for the fighting the wildfires. This is called the weather modification system. The technology is old, it's effective, and low cost. So there's no reason not doing that. So that's the two things that I'm thinking about. And we also have a need, a demand for put the power line from hanging over above the rooftop and put that into the ground underground. So we'll bury it down. And then this time I went to Panoramic Way and talked to the resident, and I found out that they have a need for that. The problem is that the cost is very high. Each household, from what I talked to the resident, each household has to pay like more than 50,000 to get it done. So this is it's not a small amount of money. However, I did some homework and I found that there are touchless drilling technology. It used to be you used to the machine to do the drilling, but that's slow and cost high. But if you can have a touchless, there are startups doing that. The cost can be cut down more than 50 to 80%. So that 50,000, 50,000, if you cut it down to 50%, we're talking about 25,000. But also, I was thinking that because this is very good, um, the initial cost for bury the power line is high, but once you're done, the maintenance cost is much, much lower. And also reduce the wildfire hazard. So it's a very good thing to do. So I was thinking maybe the city government can pick up 1/3 of the cost. We can also talk to the federal government to see if they have funds for that, because federal government just passed the infrastructure bills. that we can see if we can get money from them. And then the next problem is for Berkeley, and not just Berkeley, for the entire Bay Area, for the entire California, is homeless problem. And then I have two solutions. The first one is the build village of tiny houses. The tiny houses in another video I talk about this. Nowadays you can buy from Amazon ready-made and ready installed for under $5,000. And you can have a village because we put them in village, and then you can have all these facilities to help them, like for example, psychiatry, counseling. We can have a pet clinics, public toilet, police patrolling, and we can even have a shuttle bus linked to bus stop. So with this added benefit at a low cost, will attract the people to live there. And the other thing is that not just housing, we have to work about the mental problems. So we will let the non-aggressive homeless people, will assign them with at least one trained and paid UC Berkeley student counselor, and then for mental health assistance. And then the next one is a tax revenue problem. This I call it a tax revenue problem instead of an unemployment problem, because currently Berkeley has very low unemployment rate. It's less than 3%. That's very ideal. So we don't have the unemployment. On the other hand, we do need to have more local business, so we can increase tax revenue. With more tax revenue, we can get the more job done, and a lot of us financial problem will be solved. I was thinking, for government, it's basically you have two functions. One is that um, collect the money, keep the environment clean, and the other function is that to grow business by improving the business environment. So the way to do that is that to turn to Berkeley alumni, the parents and families, and then instead of just asking them for donations, we turn them into local employers. So they establish new business in town, and the business will be booming. That's everybody will be happy. And the other way to do it is that we have an innovative forum called BOSIT. BOSIT means that the Berkeley Open Solutions Idea Competition. That open to everybody, and then to compete, to share their entrepreneurial ideas, and to fix their local problems with the new and innovative business. That's again, it's good for tax revenue, increased tax revenue. And then we have parking problems. Okay, in part of Berkeley, it's hard to find a parking space. But nowadays, I was thinking that we can have like an all automatic parking tower, like a 3 or 4 stories high, and then and everything is automatic. You can have a robot. Online you can watch the video, like some robots with wheels. They slide into under the car, and then lift the car and then move them away. And then the whole thing is automatic. We can hold up to like 100 vehicles. Again, all the drivers need to do is drop car there, and then the robots will lift the car up into the elevator and then move to the desired floors, and then automatically find out which empty spot is available and then move the car there. So everything's done automatically. And what about the drivers? And then we can have like electronic bikes or e-scooters that will be funded by the local government, and then to send people to their final destinations. Okay. So in that way, we don't need the parking space. It saves a lot of space that way. And then we also have Berkeley doesn't have a fare, so I call that a fareless problems. Okay. The solution is that you have to find a location that is near downtown, but also near the student, near the campus, so people can walk there on their foot. And then the Berkeley will be the first college town, or I don't know if it's a very first in the country, but we can host back to school fairs in Elmwood, College Avenue. That's close to downtown, like I said, closer to downtown, close to student. And then we can try to start it twice a year, and then if everything goes well, we can do that monthly or even weekly. Okay. And then the other problem is that the blockchain bound, municipal bond marketing problems. Berkeley has issued the very first municipal bond through blockchains, but the problem is that how to get people to buy it, right? So my idea is that you don't limit yourself to the local resident to buy the municipal bond. You can name it a Berkeley Pride, and then you soliciting all the Berkeley student and the families, all the alumni families, and then to buy them. So that make it easier. We then also Berkeley has public communication problems. They can do a better job in communicating with the public, and then the first thing that towards that direction is that we can establish a formal procedures. You basically says that every, if not all, at least most public documents will be first read by eighth graders, at least one, ideally two or three, so to ensure that they understand it. If they can understand, general public can understand it. Okay? And then we can also develop more frequently asked questions, step-by-step guides, and the tutorial videos to get a lot of things done, get the message across. And then the other thing is that for the election measures, I actually had problems by reading the way that the election measure was drafted. It doesn't have any uh, um, cost, potential risk as a cost. And then, so I would say that make it a mandatory that in the future for all the election measures will have the content for and pros and cons, risks and returns, argument for and argument against it, so we can have a complete transparency before people vote. And then Berkeley has not Berkeley, just the entire country has a hate speech problems. Nationwide, the hate speech problem is especially big for Asian and Pacific Islanders. And then at this point, the law says that you can't really intervene unless the haters get violent. But we all know that that's a big problem because sometimes words hurts more than the actions. Okay. So we have to fix it. I would propose that the confrontational uh, hate 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 speech make it a misdemeanors. I say that before, so you can say I hate the homosexual. You can say that as a general statement. But if you point your fingers to someone else, say, "Hey, you're homosexual. Go home," and using the F word, then that hate speech is not protected by constitutions. We have to stop that. And also, I'm the one believing that behavior, believing people power instead of having a lot of online website, a lot of demonstration, a lot of flyers and pamphlet. We have to set up anti-hate squads to patrol public places. And then we also have an unfunded liability problem. The other one is a kind of a more like a financial issues. Than I'm writing a blog post on this to give you more details. But right now, my biggest proposal is that to right now all the retirees will get all the investment earnings all to him or herself. But that's not necessary. We can only promise like a 2% real earnings. Like what is real earnings? Meaning that the earnings above the inflation. So let's say the inflation is 2%, And then on top of that, we make a 10% of real earnings. So the rest of money, any surplus money, will belong to the public. Okay, we'll get into more that in another blog post. So I won't get into more detail this one. And then peer-to-peer counseling problems. Right now, we don't have. I just feel like the Berkeley high school student and the Berkeley college student, they don't have much interactions. And I want to change that so we can have an online forum, like student-to-student counseling or peer-to-peer counseling. So the high schoolers and college students can chat with each other, like how to apply college and the major selections, and even have research ideas. Everything's free, everything online. We can do the exchanges. And also, while we're on the topic, we can have a foreign language club, and then to take advantage of a lot of foreigners on this campus, and to teach them foreign language or practice them foreign languages. And then city apps problems. Like this Saturday we had a shooting near Telegraph and Channing Way, and then one guy's already dead, and the police has no clue who did it. So that'll make me thinking that we really need to develop a lot of city apps. So in the city lab, you can have a push one button and then automatically recording the thing. If you happen around and you can watch the crime happen, you can push the button and record it, everything. So we can have all kind of things, location sensitive crime smart maps, transportation smart maps, law enforcement smart maps, and public administration smart maps. Okay. All these things can be done. I'm the one believing two things. One, I believe people power, uniting people. The other is to believe in technology, believe in innovations. And then we have a freshman class low voting rate problem right now in the nationwide. Freshman class is at the lowest rate, never higher than 60%. We need to change that. And we're starting from CKC first and mobilize them. My goal is to get a 70% voting rate. Okay, folks, that's it.